High five. High five. Good girl. Good high five. Hey guys. Welcome to Palm Tree Elegy. It's Whiskey. And this is my friend Delta, who is very food driven and happens to be my service dog. She's my PTSD service dog. I always say that she chose me. I didn't choose her. She was actually a rescue that we got when she was 5 weeks old. And at about a year and a half, I started kind of falling out and having my issues. And the dog picked up on things before me and the doctors figured everything out. So that's why I say she picked me ahead of time, and she automatically, just for some reason, has the gift of doing what it is that she does. I got lucky and she was heaven sent for me. So I understand that that's how it worked out for me. But this episode is about the pros. There are the pros of having a service dog for PTSD. Number one, besides the fact that she's absolutely cute, when I started having issues and not understanding what was going on, she was actually getting in front of me and stopping me from pacing. Like I was doing a compulsive behavior and she was stopping me from doing it. She did it naturally, but you can stop them, or you can train them, to, if they see things happen repetitively, to stop you. The way she would get in front of me the way she would stop me was she would get in front of me and she'll lay down in front of me. And to this day, if I pace, she will stop and she will stop me. She'll stop what she's doing. Grounding, if I need to, I could sit down and I can hug on her and love on her, and she will get in my lap. If there's something that she's picking up on that I'm not, she will lick me. She will get in my face, and she won't back down until I come back to center. Delta, get up. Good girl. She, for the longest time, even to this day, very food driven. She requires a schedule, right? She has to get up. She has to be let out. She has to be fed at 6:30 every evening. If you don't feed her, she's yelling at you, which is real fun in when there's time change. But she is very, very consistent on a schedule. And that kind of thing, you could train a dog too. If they're really good on picking up schedules like that, you could train them if you're on medications, and they will either bring the medications to you or they will do some kind of signal, and they will not let up until you remember to take your medicines. Because when you're dealing with PTSD and all those kind of things, forgetting things gets in the way a lot. She would blocking. When I first lost my job, I'd go to grocery stores. One of my other videos, I talked about it, about how I'd run into my students and stuff like that, and that I was having a really hard time dealing with that. She would instinctively get in between me and whoever it was that I was talking to or dealing with, and it would kind of leave a buffer. So it was the greatest thing ever. Like I would have that physical buffer where there'd be space and I didn't feel like I could still breathe. Number one. And number two, she was, I'm like, oh, look, she's laying down. Oh, look, she's tired. Look, whatever. And I can blame my exit on the dog. So that was very, very helpful at times, because we don't want to necessarily explain everything that we're going through, but at the same time, we're in a store with a service dog. So that's actually going to come up as one of the cons in a different video. She would force me to leave an area. If something was going on and something was just way too stressful or triggering, or I wouldn't realize what was happening or going on, she would actually pull the leash and pull me out of the store. She has pulled me out of buildings many, many times before, where she's like, nope, we're done. I'm done with this. This is not satisfactory to me. And she'll pull me right out of the store. Walmart was the big one. Get too many crowds of people, or just something would bang or something like that, and I would be hypersensitive. She'd pull me right out of the store. She just would not. She's going to keep up with that leash. And sometimes I wasn't ready to leave, and we kind of have our little bicker about it, but we were a good team overall, or still are. Service dogs are more vigilant, so you don't necessarily have to be. It helps you train down your hypervigilance, because you understand that the stresses of the senses of the dog are actually going to pick up before, like that sense. I just opened the treat container. You see how fast she sat up? Yeah. The senses of the dog are going to keep up or pick up faster than you are. So you don't have to worry about being hyper vigilant and trying to sense everything that's going on and pay attention to everything, because I understand as long as I can read the dog's going to read the room for me. So that was pivotal in helping me calm down on the hypervigilance. Good girl. Give me a high five. High five. You sniff it. You don't want to. High five. Good girl. Good high five. Oh, thank you. There you go. So it gave me that sense of security. It helps you understand when the dog reacts to you. It helps you see your patterns and understand your triggers when they're coming at you, or when things happen over and over again that the dog triggers because you're triggered. The dog, you start to understand things more. She keys in on my emotional stress when things happen, or I get really keyed up all of a sudden, or things change in me and I may not be in that moment, I may not be aware of what's happening, because a lot of times I figure things out in retrospect. She will pick up on it and she will key up into my psychological changes before I will sometimes. She's actually woke me up from night terrors before. I will have them in the middle of the night and they don't necessarily wake you up and you're kind of stuck in that mode because you're in a deeper sleep. And she's actually woke me up standing on top of me and waking me up out of those. And then she's there to ground me, to help me come back to the fact that I'm where I'm at, right? That I'm safe, I'm with my dog, and that I'm just laying in my own bed in the dark. It's not some crazy, creepy place like it was in my head when I was sleeping. The thing about schedules and food, they can remind you to take meds. I said that already. You have your choice in the United States of you can have a professionally trained dog, or you can train the dog yourself for service. I actually trained her myself. It was just the gift of God that she was already with me and picked up on everything. Their training, having a professionally trained dog is pretty expensive, and you have to go by their rules and their parameters. They can be a lot more specific in their training, and you're guaranteed a dog that's gonna, almost guaranteed, there's no guarantees in life, almost guaranteed that you're gonna have a dog that totally works for you. But you also don't have quite as much freedom and sovereignty in what you're doing as when you have your own dog. So there's, and like with her, we transitioned her from pet to service dog. And so it depends on, it's case by case, I think. And I think it depends on how much time and how much resource you have, and you're able to commit to the animal. Myself personally, my family comes from a long line of dog trainers, so it was just second nature and really easy for me to do it myself. When there's been multiple times I've had multiple hospital stays, like long term. I've actually been in a rehab center when I broke my ankle and was in PT and OT, and I needed extra help because my husband was on the road working. So the dog, for multiple surgeries, has been at the hospital with me. The only place that they cannot go is the operating room, any place that's sterilized, but she's always been allowed in the hospital rooms with me and slept in the bed with me in the hospital, which was really funny when rude doctors don't knock and they walk in a room at 2:00 in the morning to check on their patients. They learn real fast when the dog wants to not protect, but lets you know that they're there and the room's pitch black. That's actually cracked me up a couple times, that was the doctor's fault for bedside manner. And I always kept a sign outside of the room warning that there was a service dog in the room. So it was 100% on the doctor, not the dog. But I spent 6 weeks in a nursing rehab center because of my injuries from my ankle. And she stayed with me the whole 6 weeks. It was amazing because my brain was not in a good place when I ended up there because of the emergency circumstances. And she was just totally that grounding and that keeping me in that place and in that spot. So she was my constant and my comfort and helped me come back to focus and stay grounded while I was in there. And the last thing for service dogs with PTSD, it comes back to, it's going to go onto the cons list too, but because dogs attract attention when they're the only ones in a building. But she has been a great tool for teaching me to teach other people about what is going on with PTSD and advocating a tool for service dogs and other not necessarily mainstream modalities for PTSD. Hi, sweetie. So she's been a very, very good teacher and a very, very good tool. Where's your other ear? You want to do high five again? Oh, did mom take it? So she's been an amazing tool, and we've taught some tricks. Oh, you missed. Hit it again. Oh, other paw. Oh, thank you. Good girl. Good girl. So she has been amazing, and she's 8 years old. She just turned 8 in May. We've had her since she was 5 weeks, and I'm a whole lot better than I used to be. She still goes with us and travels with us as a service dog, and she still, every once in a while, she still has to pop in, and she does when she needs to. But for the most part, she's a retired country dog now. But I still make sure that we keep up on her skills and her training, and she understands what the expectation is when we're out in public versus when we're at home. So, and she's actually better off leash than she is on, because it's just worked out better for us, and the law is based on what is the most conducive thing for the patient who has the dog. And I forgot to actually add too, by federal law in the United States, a service dog is a service animal, which is a dog or a miniature horse, which I keep threatening that for the next one, and my husband keeps telling me no. But a dog or a miniature horse, and they are there for the sole purpose of mitigating somebody's disability. And that could be a psychological disability like PTSD. That could be a mobility dog, a seeing eye dog, or a dog for the hearing impaired. So those are covered and protected by federal law in the United States, and they are allowed different, we'll say privileges, but they're allowed different access in this world and in our human world that most animals and pets, and not even emotional service dogs, or not, I said that wrong, not even emotional support animals are allowed to do. And like cats can't be service dogs or anything like that. It is just dogs. I screwed that all up. It's fine. Dogs and miniature horses are service animals. Everything else falls under emotional support, which is a differently entire blanket according to the law. So thank you so much. We love y'all, and we'll see you next time. There's going to be another one that goes with this. That is the cons of having a service dog, because there are some drawbacks too. So we love you. Say bye.